Perhaps you've seen the news. In many ways, it's a bittersweet day, and you might think, well, it sounds like Josh might be doing a bit. This is the intonation when Josh is doing a bit. And I need you to know this, voyeurs. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Everything I will tell you in this open today is 100% factually accurate. If you're not sitting down, perhaps if you're driving and you want to pull over onto the side of the road and make sure you're prepared for some heavy news, here it is. Unfortunately, Nate Taylor of The Athletic will no longer be a part of Only Weird Games. It is a devastating blow in many ways, but as always, the machine keeps marching. And we have, in better news, we have already found our replacement on the show. I know it's a big change. I know that Nate Taylor of The Athletic has such an incredible following, such passionate love from the fans, and we will make sure that we send Nate Taylor of The Athletic off into the sunset as he so richly deserves. But again, big changes and podcast shakeups never easy. I hope that you will give a chance to the new guy. It is obviously enormous shoes to step into, but I can now announce, alongside Seth Keysor and myself, Joshua Brisco, the new third host of Only Weird Games is Nate Taylor of ESPN! Let's go!
Let's go!
My headphones are broken. My heart is not. Nate Taylor of ESPN is a part of this show. Nate Taylor, the man, the myth, the legend, who you know in many ways almost unchanged. I mean, this could change him. This could change him for the better. I mean, maybe for the worse. I don't know.
Josh,
He's here.
that's Nate Taylor with
You're in the box next to him. You're in the box next to him, man. I got a whole box away.
It's me. If I wave it's like I'm almost poking Nate Taylor with ESPN.
That's me, actually. You're poking me right now. I
Oh,
don't know
no.
if you've got mirroring on.
Now
Yeah,
it's
there
like
we go.
I'm almost poking Nate Taylor with ESPN.
Adam Schefter tweeted about that guy like 10 minutes ago.
I'm caressing the face of Nate Taylor with ESPN. Hi, Nate.
Hello, gentlemen.
Do you like football?
I sure do.
Do you think that football would be better if the ball was round?
Oh, God, no. Are you insane? Get out of here.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Tayller. I didn't really mean anything by it. I was just kind of asking.
What if the games were would you think it'd be better do you think would games be more good if they were normal? If all the games were normal? Would that be better?
No, it would not be better. I've taken many consideration to your question, sir, and I must scoff at it because the games must only be weird, okay? I will not do this job if the games somehow become normal. They must only stay weird.
Joshua Brisco from Only Weird Games, the KC Sports Network. You've got some big shoes to fill. Can you confirm if you ever have or have not conceived a child at Wimbledon? I'll hang up and listen.
Next question. Come on, guys.
No! I'm being pulled away. Oh no, guys! Wait,
Guys!
On the plus side, now Nate Taylor of ESPN is the host. I'm so sorry. All right. I can't possibly top anything that Josh does ever. Nate, man, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Wow. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be on this new show as a new co-host alongside some real, entrenched veterans. I'm just the rookie here. I'm just trying to learn, not step on anybody's toes. I'm just here to learn, here to be another cog in the machine. I just want to do what the coaches tell me to do, and anything the team needs, I'm going to do.
Oh, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah.
Sorry
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt.
No, that happens a lot in press conferences, kind of mid-statement.
What?
Yep.
We'll just start asking.
Yes, it does. I'm usually the one doing it.
This is Seth Keysor with Only Weird Games. My co-host has been carted away in a butterfly net.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, do you have an opinion on whether people should or should not handle their business?
Thank you for asking. Great question. What was your name again, sir?
Seth
Oh,
Seth Keysor? I think it's either
Thank-
Keysor or Kaiser, sir.
It's okay. Thank you, Seth. Great question, Seth.
I like that question.
I will always push people towards handling their business than pushing them away from such. As you know, to get to this level of success, one has to handle their business. So I just hope that I can encourage and inspire many in the youth to do the same. Please handle your business.
It's like being there for the Sermon on the Mount.
The generations before you and after you need you to handle your business. One must always handle business. So I don't ever want you, Seth. Yeah, I don't ever want you, Seth, to not handle your business.
Last question. One more. Go ahead.
It's him.
I was being a PR person now, so you could ask one more question. But I assumed that you had more in the tank there, which you already carried that bit pretty good.
I don't have anything left to ask Nate other than I do think that Blake Hill in the comments does have a good question here. Will have a better camera phone than Adam Teicher?
Well, we've taken great consideration of this, given the tradition and the history that I'm stepping into. Okay, I understand what it took for Adam to be so consistent, to be so dialed in, to be so razor sharp focused on getting such a high quality camera to produce such a low quality picture.
That can't be easy, actually. Jokes
It cannot.
aside.
It cannot. We cannot undersell how great he was at it. His ability was unassailable, and I am working very hard in the gym, spending much of this 10, 11 week paternity leave to produce my best work when my best is required. So I've had many conversations with Adam, and I'll continue to do that, because he's been such a great mentor so far. Yes, I will do my best to produce the grainiest, pixelated, absolutely hard to tell if that is actually a human being or Casey Wolf in a photo. Yes, that will be produced for consumption purposes online.
Awesome.
Nate, if you do need somebody with a busted, crummy phone, I know a guy, actually. He's right between us right now in the video stream. You want to just borrow a phone from Seth? I think you could actually make that a lot easier on yourself. Well, look, Nate, I'll say what we're all thinking. You're in the best shape of your life. I mean, this is absolutely peak stuff. I've
never, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
there.
good.
Say your name again.
This is your show. It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
sorry
irrelevant.
to cut you off. Sorry to cut you off, sir. But
thank you. That's more respect than I'm owed.
I've never felt better. Never felt better in my career. So continue.
I was going to say that as we are here envisioning the passing of the baton of Adam Teicher, full sprint, reaching out and handing you a flip phone on the track as you reach back to retrieve it.
Yes.
You've put out your statements on socials, both the goodbye and thank you to The Athletic and the hello and welcome to ESPN. But we have some actual football things we will talk about at some point. But Nate, in all this is hard for me to say. In all seriousness, what the heck, man? Pretty cool, right? Is it pretty cool? I think it's pretty cool, dude.
It's pretty cool.
That's my final question.
It's fantastic, and it's only fantastic because of not just the two people on my screen, and not just Tucker D. Franklin behind my ears. It's great because of you. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening, watching, voyeuring. Just thank you. It's been truly incredible to experience a day, there was only so much I could say and or do, and I hope people understand that. So I tried my best to, I got to express everything I wanted to say in those statements. I know that is not my forte. These hands are mostly used to give you insight, to give you news, to give you better perspective.
You gave us news and insight that we needed.
And it's tough, as anybody knows. It's tough to write about yourself and your own experience, but also try to make it concise and brief. But yeah, it was the past 7 years were amazing. And
holy crap, 7 years.
7 years,
right?
7 years is a long time, considering the Athletics only been around 9 years. And I want to make that clear too. So I think, wholeheartedly, it was wild to, having already made the decision to give things away, to let things go, that, what do you say when a place has led to all of this, when you've had so many great memories? The Athletic is largely a sizable reason why you're seeing our faces, why you're listening to our voices, why you even enjoy this show. Doesn't Troy Aikman work for ESPN? Now, we will get to that at a later time, Zach.
I specifically did not include that in my opening questions, because I did want to ask if maybe I could be your +1 to the Christmas party, just to see if Troy and I could patch it over.
I think I'm gonna. I don't want to. Well, I'll save it
don't
for later.
Don't say anything you don't have to say right now. I don't.
I'll save it for later.
You cannot get in trouble on this podcast on your first day at ESPN. You can't. You can't do it.
Yeah. So, it was truly humbling to, even as I wrote today, have Holly and I go through each comment just to, just to put a cap on everything that the Athletic provided me and the opportunity it gave me, and all the, the joys, all the joyous moments we had. And then, of course, you wake up today. I wake up today at ESPN is like, we're pushing the button. Let's go. I was like, I'm trying to change my son's diaper. It's too late. We put it out there. So they've been, I think ESPN, God bless them, has been so pumped. There's so many people I know at ESPN that have been waiting for this day. It's an incredible welcoming. I couldn't be just more. I could be more happy and psyched from a professional moment to have this day, for us to have this day, for us to know that, like, we did this. I want to make that very clear. Like, we all did this. This is not some individual thing. We all get to celebrate. And so I've been very diligent to say what I said this morning, and to really not say anything else until this particular show began, because that's what you guys deserve, because we all need to take this in together. And I'm just very, very thrilled, like extremely ecstatic, thrilled. Thank you guys so much. You guys continue to blow me away as much as possible. I will say one more thing, and then we will get to actual football. Are we ready, fellas?
Seems a little early, but yes.
Yeah. 15 minutes. Okay.
I mean, well, sure.
Hey, Mr. Taylor, I'm so sorry. Hey, Seth, lock in. ESPN's Nate Taylor. What are you doing? It's his show. Do what he says.
It's not my show.
Go ahead, Mr. Taylor.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a terrifying face. Good Lord.
So So I had an epiphany today, of all days. I had an epiphany. It's been great. Cannot thank Adam Teicher enough, who, God bless him, recommended me for this job, and couldn't be more grateful for his recommendation, for his guidance, for his belief that I can do this job at a high level. So we will see. Nate, are you doing Tennis Corner on ESPN The Ocho? Well, Joseph, we're gonna do Tennis Corner kind of right now, okay? Because the epiphany that came into my mind was tennis specific today. All right. As we all know, Wimbledon is occurring this fortnight. It will end on Saturday with the women's final and the men's doubles final, and it will end Sunday with the women's double final and the men's final. Now, we know Amanda Anisimova and Iga Swiatek will play for the women's final. We do not know yet who will play for the men's final as of today, although we kind of hope it's Alcaraz Djokovic. That would probably be the most intriguing.
Thank you. UFC fighter and a basketball player, but that makes it interesting.
Djokovic. So that's you. If you are blessed to win Wimbledon, there's something very specific that happens because it is the most prestigious tennis tournament that nothing like this happens in sports. And so if you briefly walk this journey with me, when you win Wimbledon, you have the post-match ceremony, you say your short speech on court, the Duchess is right over there, and then they hand you the trophy. And you walk around with this gold trophy or dish, plate, whatever you want to say if you're the women's champion, and obviously the cup for the men's. And you take photos, you get to walk around with it. You walk the entire circle of the court so that everybody in the stadium can take the photo of the new champion or the new repeat champion, if it so happens to be Carlos Alcaraz on Sunday. And then ESPN, see what I'm doing? ESPN, because they are the broadcast partner, has this very specific thing that happens in sports. You will follow the champion from the court down into the lobby, in and up the stairs, past all the great memorabilia, all the tennis history, all the paintings, all the wooden rackets, and there's royalty. And who knows, sometimes you might even see the queen. You might see the Duchess. You have a nice chat with the royal family. It's the weirdest thing in tennis. Like, you have to do this. Everyone does this. But you're still holding the trophy. And it's the only trophy of that particular kind that's made. And ESPN cameras continue to follow you. And you go up the hall and you go past the locker room. And you just hear these little, oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Well done, sir. Mighty cheers, my lady. As you walk around with this gigantic trophy.
That's a polite sport.
And then you get out to the patio. And it's everyone who wasn't in the stadium. But everyone and anyone who's at Wimbledon Park is there to celebrate with you as you lift the trophy from your sternum over your head. And guys, that's all I've been doing today. We won the trophy, and we've been holding it in our hands. And the whole KCSN, Only Weird Games, my family, anyone who's known me, anyone who's worked alongside me, we have the trophy today, and we get to present it to everyone. And it's wild to be congratulated by a lot of the peers that you have a lot of admiration for, and a lot of you guys who have entrusted me to inform you about your favorite football team. We won the trophy. And I'm going to, for the next however many minutes, 40, 45, who knows, we're gonna raise it, and we're gonna bask in it. And it's gonna be one of our coolest moments together as a group. And just like Wimbledon, once that's over with, you hand the trophy back to the All England Club, because that trophy's not leaving. And so tonight, and I promise everyone, I will respond to your texts, to your emails, to your tweets, to your Facebook posts. I will respond to everyone as much as I can. That is my goal tonight, to give back to everyone who has obviously given me an amazing day. And then you give the trophy back, and the work starts tomorrow. So the same thing happens for the champion at Wimbledon. You won, you give the trophy back, you move on with your life. So for this one day, we're going to hold that trophy really nice, and then we're going to give it back. And who knows, maybe there'll be some news tomorrow.
Seth, Wimbledon's the tennis one.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, there's nothing that beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And there's no simpler way to get in on the action than by downloading the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm honestly just so proud that we did get to today without either Seth or I at some point in the recent period of time totally blowing it, because this is the hardest secret of my life to keep.
Thank you. By the way, my family thanks you for keeping this under the wraps.
It was an effort.
Woo!
Man, there are a lot of lawyers, cops, and social workers in the Minnesota area that know. But I didn't say it on record in court. So
hallelujah.
Man, this is great. Nate, what I'm taking from that is, Josh, you and me did it.
That's right, baby. That's right.
And Nate was there too.
Seth, on
That's
Tuesday,
right.
On Tuesday, I heard a wise man talk about how some quarterbacks are elevated by their supporting cast and how some quarterbacks are able to overcome their supporting cast and still get the trophy. And I feel like we shouldn't examine that any more closely for you and I.
At all.
We should just celebrate that we got a trophy.
That's right.
That's fair. Yeah. The 53rd man on the roster gets a trophy too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I'm trying. There were like 3 different players that like screamed into
Yeah,
my
yeah,
brain.
yeah.
Don't do
I
it.
was like,
Don't do it.
Yeah, I had a specific. I went with the outro for into the break that I did because I didn't want to start naming players because I didn't want to start this show on the. Well, hi everyone at ESPN who's now listening to this show because Nate's on it. Here are the 5 NFL players who I don't think are deserving of their Super Bowl rings. That's not an energy that I wanted to bring either. So, everybody deserves it. No, because I want to give the appropriate respect to the effort that goes into this. Unlike the effort that goes into this podcast, which is quite often shockingly minimal. But Seth, I think a gift you could give Nate to celebrate here is the next part of the show. You just talk the whole time. Because we are going to an exercise that you are doing in the Chief of the North newsletter, and I'm going to make you like set the stage of kind of what the goal is here too, because
Sure.
I think I understand it now, but there is sort of a winding road of picking some of these things to revisit and the space they hold in this era of Chiefs football.
Yes.
So you can read along for part 1 of what probably could have been a 10-part series, will ultimately, I think, be a 2-part series.
Dude.
The games that define this era for Patrick Mahomes' version of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
You're going chronological. You're going to specific moments with what in mind. What kind of set this off, and how did you begin making this list? By the way, I was there for some of it, but I'm just still baffled.
So, I heard a nice segment on the Athletic Football Show. There's only a few podcasts that I'll listen to. I'll listen to the Lab. I'll listen to the KCSN fellas. I don't listen to us because I was there. But
Well, sometimes.
well, mentally or physically.
Yeah.
I'll listen to a show where I was there the whole time. I'm like, wow, we talked about a lot of stuff. And they had a great segment where they were asked in a mailbag about like someone who's just getting into the sport. What are some games of the last 20 years that people really need to watch?
Yes.
And they had various thoughts on some games that really kind of help you understand the way they could have taken any number of directions, like what games are the most fun, what games are the most important, but they decided like what tells the story of the NFL over the last 20 years. I was like, ooh, that's good.
That's
really like that. And so what I took that as the games that kind of define the last 20 years of the NFL. And I thought, man, the Patrick Mahomes era is entering its 9th year. So I thought to myself, what games define the Patrick Mahomes era if we were to talk about various games? And so what I decided, well, I'm just gonna write about it because I knew I was gonna be thinking about it for a while. And so I might as well just write it, right? Like just get those thoughts out of me like an alien bursting out of my chest.
Love your metaphors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my analogies are why I don't work for ESPN. And
Those
so
are graphics, sir.
that and other reasons. So I decided, well, you got to have some kind of criteria. I didn't want to do like a, something that claimed to be objective. But for me, because remember, we're talking about not just the most fun, not just the one that created the best memory, whatever, but what defines the Patrick Mahomes era? What games really tell the story of the Patrick Mahomes era? So here's my criteria. Now we're moving to Seth reads the internet.
Yeah, baby.
Or internet.
How much? So these are the things I'm asking myself. How much is the memory
For Nate Taylor of ESPN to read his own stories on this podcast? That's going to be a spiritual experience.
Oh, that's going to be incredible.
Sorry, Seth, go ahead. I respect you a little bit, but less than I respect Nate.
Oh, yeah. Well, that
was true yesterday too, but
yeah, that's really changed over the course of years. That's like, that's pretty steady. It's good to know there's things you can count on. So how much does the memory of a moment in that game or the game itself live on after the season has ended? The more memorable, the more likely it is to be included. I mean, quick, pop quiz. Name a game from the 2020 season. Exactly, you can't. Don't bother to prove me wrong.
Do you want me to?
No. And so
I think they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but no, I'll tell you that, and we can talk about that because that's one of the ones that I covered in part 1 here. I ended up with way more games than I thought I was going to because there's a big story here to tell. So That's the first one. How memorable? How much is it still remembered and talked about? How pivotal was the game, not just in that season's outcome, because then it'd be every single playoff game, right?
Can I say the game that involves Stephon Diggs still on the field and at the end of the 2020 season?
Oh, see, and that, that almost made the cut, but didn't quite actually, because honestly, the Chiefs just kind of destroyed the Bills. And
yeah, that's why I said that.
Yeah, and then the game ended. And
sorry, let me go ahead. I'll sorry, Nate.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
no, I got it. Don't worry. Wow, yeah, Nate, great point. I'm such a fool for not including that. I'm going to go in and edit it right now because you're Nate Taylor of ESPN, and I would never disagree with you on a podcast.
Thank you, good sir.
That's
a smart said that, Seth.
What a gentleman.
I've
it's like
been
you're not even married.
I've been saying the wrong thing my whole life. I'm not going to change now. So, how much did that game determine how Chiefs fans and league in general talk about and think about the team? So games that played a huge role in team success and general narrative matter more than games that fell by the wayside or didn't move the conversation. So that's one reason why 2020 has fewer games than you think, because they were world champs. Everyone knew they were awesome. Them blowing out team after team after team. Look at the 2020 season sometime.
They were dominant.
They were really good.
It
was kind of shocking they didn't win it all. So that's one thing. And here's a huge one, okay? These last two are they kind of weigh everything. They're the more important ones. Did the game play a major role in the team's development? Here's an easy example, and we'll talk about this. The 2018 AFC Championship, they lost, obviously. That led to Andy Reid firing defensive coordinator Bob Sutton and hiring Steve Spagnuolo. One of the most impactful decisions for the Chiefs during the Patrick Mahomes era. One of the most impactful decisions across the entire NFL over the course of the last decade. If Reid makes a worse hire at defensive coordinator, do the Chiefs get a dynasty? I'm not sure they do. So that's a big one. And that's where the bigger the role a game plays in that direction the team went, the more likely it's going to be included. And that means you're going to have quite a few tough losses in here because that's part of what's defined them as a team. They've been willing to ebb and flow. And here's the final one, and this is a little more subjective and was kind of fun to think about. Can you tell the story of the Mahomes era without this game? How important would it be in a movie, for example? So this might be the single most important factor, and it might also mean some games get skipped over you wouldn't think would, because like the game right before it and the game right after it made the list. What would be in a movie or a TV show montage? What would have to be in there for you to understand the plot? And by the way, just to know, with this criteria in mind, let me see if I can see this.
Hell yeah.
I ended up with...
Look at that.
Look
at that research.
I ended up with a lot of games. Stop it, Josh.
Is that like 40 maybe? I wasn't even going to make fun of your handwriting. I was trying to figure out how many numbers.
It's 30 plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it might be around like 35. It's a ridiculous number of games. And that's what, by the way, the Chiefs have been great for so long, and this era has lasted long enough. You couldn't do a movie about the Mahomes era. This is a TV series, people, and maybe not even a single season. I think this is at least a 2-season series, and that's why it turned into a 2-parter. So I like, just to, start off. Oh man, I should not have read the private chat.
No, you shouldn't. I'll just so people don't wonder what we're giggling about. I want to go find the person that had the correct, had the best possible take today. What from Derek said, does ESPN know about Girth Brooks yet?
Girth.
I think that's got to be one of the things that helps secure the job. I think about it. They may have hired Girth Brooks, and Nate Taylor is just back there behind the scenes puppeteering it.
So that's what I did. And so right now,
so much girth.
Part 1 is up on the Chief of the North newsletter. I set out to, I really thought I was going to do like 10 games in a 1-piece article. There's just too much. There's too many stories to tell in 2018 alone. So I think we can all agree that it starts off in 2017. I'm not going to cover every single game because that would be dull.
Yeah, I think pick a couple that you find interesting, either because they were on the bubble or because you were like, I would say, Seth, if we're planning this out on the fly, because I mean, look, there's one professional in this podcast, and that's all we need.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious which of the ones on here you felt like, well, I got to include that one because I think most people don't understand the impact of that game.
Yes.
We all remember the Super Bowls and a lot of the playoff games, but there are a couple in here that I kind of went like, oh, yeah, interesting.
So for me, I think, his first start is an obvious one. Everyone's going to do that one, and they should for a lot of reasons. One that I don't think enough people include because it gets overshadowed by kind of the play everyone thinks of that starts it all against the 49ers in week 3 of 2018. And then it gets overshadowed to an extent by their Monday Night Football win over Denver, the left-handed throw.
Yep.
That's what everyone remembers. But for me, I don't think you can tell the story of Patrick Mahomes' era in Kansas City without talking about their week 2 win over Pittsburgh that year.
Thank you.
And so much of this, one thing that's been really fun, I forgot how many teams were the boogeyman to the Chiefs before the Patrick Mahomes era. The Steelers were one of them. They owned the Chiefs. They absolutely owned them. They knocked them out of the playoffs.
I think if my memory is correct, I can double check this here. Prior to that game, I don't think the Chiefs had technically won a regular season game in Pittsburgh since 1983.
Yeah. It had been forever.
A long time.
And so here's the key to that. So you have Mahomes do some really cool stuff at the end of 2017. They win their first game against the Chargers. He plays really well. The Steelers had one part of this. Mike Tomlin had generally gotten the upper hand over Andy Reid in their matchups with Alex Smith at quarterback. Yes. It had happened time after time after time after time. This was the first, this isn't like a gimmick. This isn't like, and the way he did it too, by the way, this isn't like, he's just running around creating plays. Within the structure of Andy Reid's playbook, because remember, this isn't just the story of Mahomes. This is the story of the entire team. The new offense Reid had created that was a derivative of what they'd done in 2017 with downfield pass attack, but more. So many downfield routes, so many four verts, so many bend around the zone looks, and the Steelers just got shredded by it. It's worth noting the Chiefs won an absolute shootout. This is a good Steelers team. This is before Big Ben was kind of a, Walking Dead version of himself. That was like a sea change moment where like, this is different. Like this offense is maybe a juggernaut. This is a guy who can actually operate within the framework of the offense. It's not just going to be running around creating plays. That was a huge game. And the fact that he came against the Steelers makes it all the more so. Everyone talks about the left-handed throw. Everyone talks about Kansas City and the Rams, which I did include because you have to, because you can't really tell the story of the NFL over the last decade without talking about that game. That was the game where everyone was like, I need at least a good quarterback.
Excuse me. It was 1986, December 21st.
Good Lord.
When the Steelers played in Three Rivers Stadium and their quarterback was Mark Malone.
That was the last time the Chiefs had won in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had their number.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I would go to 2018, I obviously mentioned the AFC Championship because that was one of probably the top 5 most defining moments of the dynasty. Because again, without it, you don't get Spags. And Spags, I know we've got like a core 12 at this point or whatever, but Spags,
he's in the core.
He's in the inner sanctum, I think.
He's in the core 14. I don't.
He is
core,
in
the
he
core
is in
40.
I'm going to go ahead, and he is in there he's almost in the Holy of Holies. He's got one curtain separating from that because he is right in there with Reid, Mahomes. Well, I'd say Mahomes, Reid, Kelsey, Chris Jones, Spags. Mahomes is the most important. Reid is the second most important. And then pick, because Spags is like, you could make an argument. Yeah, the inner sanctum. Yes, that's really what I should have said.
Patrick Mahomes is sitting in like the Lincoln Memorial size, like big chair. He's Abe Lincoln size there. And then Andy Reid is sitting directly to his right. Let's go ahead and make them to scale. I feel like they can both be the same size, but Mahomes has like a crown on or something.
Sure.
And I mean, they could both have crowns now that I think about it. But they're in there. And then so I think then it's the sanctum. And then you get to the core 15 and then the core 45. Right. And then eventually it's just like the size of the Vatican because there's a lot of people here.
Right. And so that's why it was such a big deal. And then I'll include one more from the 2018 that people don't talk about enough now. And I have a fond memory of this because that was the first day that Nathaniel Taylor gave me a ride to Arrowhead Stadium.
Remember this like it was yesterday.
It'll never happen again.
Well, actually, I think it was the second time he'd done that, but it was the first time that he did it with like a foot of snow on the ground.
Yep.
Maybe if you're lucky, maybe you can get his driver to pick you up next time.
Oh, man, I can only hope. The divisional round stomping of the Colts was, again, the Colts were another boogeyman to the Chiefs.
Yep.
It was another, because it wasn't just that they won. It was that they won convincingly. They were very clearly the better team. I remember talking about that, at halftime. We're like, they're so much better than the Colts. So much better.
Can I tell you one sequence? I guess, is there one sequence that jumps out to you, Seth, or is it the same one? Because as I remember it, the boogeyman showed up when I never get my pump blocked. Dustin Colquitt got his pump blocked.
Right.
And then everyone was like,
oh no, here we go again.
Here it goes.
Yep. And then
go ahead.
No, you go, because this is, you're absolutely right.
There's about
That's better, Seth.
God dang it. Please, Lord. There's about 5 moments where I can think in my own mind where it's, well, this next drive seems rather important. And not only did everyone in the stadium appear to be spooked, because why wouldn't you be?
And it wasn't just a block punt.
Oh, Seth's mic broke, which is good because he interrupted Nate, so he deserved it. So, Seth, why don't you go into the penalty box and fix your microphone while the ESPN beat writer keeps talking?
What my colleague is trying to say is that it was
generous.
The Chiefs were deep in their own end, got their punt blocked, and it led to an immediate touchdown. So now the game is still somewhat in the balance, and the offense gets the ball, and it's over, guys. The Chiefs go right down the field. I think Mahomes scores on a diving, sort of scrambling touchdown run, and Andrew Luck never played another game in the NFL.
Crazy, man.
Never played
here's
another game in the NFL.
One thing that's worth noting with that, the first thing that happened, so block punt touchdown, everyone's having nightmares about the Colts comeback from years earlier because they had a 9,000 to nothing lead or whatever it was. And the first thing that happens,
lead for sure.
The first thing that happens is Mahomes comes out and rips a 30-yard gain to Travis Kelce. And immediately you could actually feel, even in the press box, people exhale. Oh, okay, this is going to be fun.
I don't have to delete my copy.
Yeah. So that's 2018. And that's one of the ones that people didn't expect. I don't know if you want me to keep rolling right into 2019, one that people don't talk about enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, rip one.
Give us one.
It's got to be week 10. I wanted to do week 2, 4 touchdowns in a quarter versus the Raiders because that was just awesome. But that was more that didn't really tell us anything new. It was just really cool. And plus, it's football, like we talked about on Tuesday, Josh. It's football played on a baseball field, which is objectively cool. Probably miserable to play on. Just horrible to play on.
Yes.
But so cool to watch.
So cool.
It's and he's rounding third. It's always so bananas to me.
He got tackled in the dugout.
Oh yeah. Well, and Travis Kelce, I think he caught a touchdown and rolled in the dirt, and I was like, oh, that has to hurt so bad.
They turned a 6-4-3 touchdown. It was weird. I don't know how to score that.
And so week 10 at Tennessee,
yes,
a loss.
Yes,
but it was also a loss where, everyone remembers where they were in week 7 of that season. And I'm trying not to talk too much about that. I did include it because that was the moment. You want to talk about moments that define a franchise? The Chiefs never ran a quarterback sneak again.
They've never come close.
Yeah. And they're not gonna. They're like, no, Pat.
At that time too, it felt like, oh man, we're on a great ride here. This team's going places. This quarterback is absolutely special. Plenty been accomplished, right? We were already beyond just projection. We had some evidence and we're still doing some projection.
Right.
It was as long as his knee doesn't fall out of his leg in some sort of freak accident, this is going to be the most fun stretch of football I've ever seen. And then what happened? His leg stuck.
Yeah. And the projections we were getting, it's easy to forget now.
For me, it isn't. It is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's the easiest thing to remember for me.
Woo! Now, the next couple days, people were like, we don't know. This is completely unprecedented. And then, like, Thursday, it was like, so he's practicing a little. And it was like, what? And it's like, yeah, we're having to, like, hold him back, basically. It was some version of that. Maybe it took it. And everyone started like, okay, it's going to be okay. And, hey, shout out to Matt Moore for doing everything he could to keep things pulled together, all that. But week 10, he came back way sooner than anyone thought. And he threw the ball like 90 times. He threw for like 450 yards. And they lost because of, if you go back and watch like the final 5 minutes of that game, the weirdest stuff happened for them to lose that game. That was
literally, it might have been around the time when we started saying, are they going to play a normal game again? The answer was no.
No.
Nope, it's always going to be weird from here, guys.
I'm looking at every game I have on this list, and they're all weird. So that's one. And then obviously, I tried to find a new take on the AFC Championship that year. Okay. The divisional round was obviously huge they came back from 24-zip. Yep. It was ridiculous. I feel like that's a topic that's been beaten to death, but it also was another step in the Chiefs are never out of a game, which reached its climax in the 2021 playoffs, but we're going to talk about that later. That'll be in part 2. Actually, no, that was still in part 1. I gotta remember the things that I wrote. Yeah. But here's the thing,
ladies and gentlemen, Seth Keysor.
Yes, Seth Keysor. One of the things, and someone's coming. How about 4th and 9 against Baltimore? Yep, that's in.
That's in there. Yep.
Oh,
all of these were stepping stones to ultimately the climax of part 1, which is 13 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was this whole, they're never out of a game. They're never out of a game. And not just Mahomes, mind you. Chris Jones is going to sack someone at the exact right moment. Travis Kelce is going to do something insane. Andy Reid's going to dial up some play call that was last done by Army in 1942. And they're going to do something to manage to somehow stay in these games. And it's going to be incredible. One thing that I don't think gets talked about enough, one of my favorite moments in all of Chiefs history is going. I go back and listen to it all the time. Some of the calls in the AFC Championship game. There were 2 of them in particular. The first one being still not down. Oh, what a run! And that was one of my favorite moments. Obviously, Mahomes did I'm by himself, threw on his Thanos gauntlet.
Oh.
But an even better moment, and I'm not a broadcaster, but you remember it, slings it way down the field to Watkins. Sammy Watkins for the touchdown. Was such a great moment on the broadcast. And I'm sure if you were in Arrowhead, it must have been absolutely bananas. But
pandemonium. Yeah.
Oh, there's such a fun shot on the CBS broadcast where right after it, they show Mahomes walking with his arms in the air and Eric Fisher's walking next to him. Mitch Schwartz comes and you can see Arrowhead in the background and everyone's jumping and everyone's screaming and everyone's losing their mind. And it is one of the most, it's just such a cool moment. It's very rare. And the NFL does a great job with broadcasts, but it's very rare that you capture that, what it must be like to be there on TV. And that's one of those moments where everyone knew. And the Titans tried to make it interesting. They were a tough, really good team. Yeah, but that was it. That was the moment. It was over. Now, to be fair, I felt like it was over at halftime. After that Mahomes run, I was like, there's no way they're losing this game. But that's one of my very favorite moments that I think gets a little bit underrated. Obviously, I cried when they won the Super Bowl. Frankly, I cried when they won the AFC Championship that year. But that moment was right up there in terms of importance because things really were different. They were doing, everything had changed for the team. And so that was one that I picked out in 2019.
I don't know if we want to continue down memory lane there. I was just thinking these are not sneaky under-discussed games, but that stretch of Texans-Titans Super Bowl is just a remarkable thing to just think back on because every one of those games have so many moments. And obviously, not only changed the franchise, like changed the city and like the team's history, both into the past and into the future in a way that none of us who were here will ever forget. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Two great comments too that you have to that you can include on the front end of that is Anita saying, the quote, "I'm calling both games" by Kevin Harlan.
That was a great moment too.
Because what's so important about that game is the Chiefs winning and the Patriots somehow losing at home to the Miami Dolphins allowed the Chiefs to have the 2 seed back. Hey kids, back in the day, they used to give 2 teams first round buys to where the Chiefs could have the 2 seed to be the, to have one of the first round buys. Tennessee, based on the seeding of the last week of the regular season, wins, goes to Baltimore, wins that game, and that leads to the AFC Championship game being played in Arrowhead instead of it being played. I believe that would have been Baltimore. Baltimore had the number 1 seed that year because of the Lamar Jackson, his first whoa, that who is this guy season with the ability. But Derrick Henry, those are 2 incredibly good running teams, and whoever got the lead first kind of controlled the tempo of that game. So Baltimore losing leads to Arrowhead having its first AFC Championship game in the history of Arrowhead, I believe, at the time. And then D-Mac says it really well. Eric Fisher, being the first draft pick of the Andy Reid era, being the guy behind Patrick in that shot that Seth just mentioned, for the Chiefs to win the Lamar Hunt Trophy, 50 years of not going to the Super Bowl, as D-Mac says, is perfect.
Yeah. It was such an incredible moment. So I got all the way up to 13 seconds.
I think let's just skip to that. I think there's more to read in the newsletter. We're never going to get to all of these, and let's go straight to not quite the cliffhanger, because I'm pretty sure I remember what happened after that. But that the 13 seconds game, I think, is in that conversation of league changing and league defining. Yes. Even more so than it is just Chiefs defining, and maybe in some ways more so for the rest of the league than specifically for the Chiefs. I can unpack that if we get there. But what came back up as you kind of sunk back into that one, Seth? What rose to the surface that made that game hold the place in history that I think it rightfully does?
Yeah. Right. Well, you can't talk about 13 seconds without talking about the fact that the 2021 Chiefs offense stunk for a little while. That was the year the league figured him out. Yep. And it's so easy to forget, although it's interesting with some of the comments that are currently being made after, they only made it to the Super Bowl. Right. The Chiefs, they had maybe the worst game of the entire Mahomes era. Well, maybe like the 3rd worst against Tennessee in week 7 that year. Everyone had figured out no one was blitzing Mahomes anymore, right? It had been shut down. And then the offense started to find its groove again.
Yeah.
Over the course the culmination of that was 13 seconds. I could talk a lot, and I did in the article if you want to go take a look. I could talk a lot about how much it says about Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and that whole offense that they were able to, on the fly, mid-season say, what we're doing isn't working anymore, guys. We are going to become a kill 'em short possession team. And they became so good at it that last year teams flood the shallow zones now against the Chiefs. That is a cool thing. And then you get to 13 seconds. That game, for one, it pictures the 2 best quarterback performances I've ever charted.
Oh,
Josh Allen played better than any other quarterback in any other game I've ever charted, except one quarterback one time.
Hey, don't remind them that because everybody was like, shouldn't he have had the ball? That they changed the rules?
We got to change the rules. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Hey,
you had so many chances to stop him.
We got to get this guy. We got to get this guy the ball again in the postseason. With the season on the line, he has had the ball. But what if he's back in Arrowhead again and he has the ball to win the game? We got to give him that chance. We got to give him the chance to have the ball. The chance to win the game.
It literally changed the rules. It
what I'm
literally
trying
changed
to
the rules.
say
And
is-
so I'm just going to say this. I see T in the comments. Josh Allen was going against the worst defense in the NFL, Seth. No, you're wrong. He wasn't. He was playing awesome. I literally charted every snap he took on all 22. Charted how good the throws were. Charted where the coverage was. They had a couple blown coverages, for sure. He had some easier throws. He also was throwing some bombs under pressure. He played unbelievably well. I am telling you, I have charted. Hang on. I got to cook here on this. I am telling you, Chiefs fans, I know you don't always love hearing stuff like this. I have charted thousands of Patrick Mahomes snaps. I have charted nearly every game he's ever played. That Josh Allen game was better than pretty much every game Mahomes has played except that one. And that's just bad luck, man. That just stinks. And you know what? I know we don't love praising other people. Josh Allen can play. He just happened to be up against a guy who played the greatest game a quarterback has ever played. And that is such a cool thing to be able to go back and watch. It's actually one reason, people afterwards, because if you look at the statistics, you would maybe give a slight edge to Allen.
Yes.
That's one reason why I went back and charted both using the same methodology that I use. Yeah. And so it was the number of created yards on whether it was scrambles, whether it was finding, creating throwing lanes, evading sacks, whatever. Both quarterbacks. It was just unbelievable. It was such a fun game to watch. And it did, similar to the 2018 Chiefs-Rams game, it took it to another level where people were just like, maybe we don't even just need a good quarterback. We need an unbelievable, we need someone who's really good. This was the moment where it's like, I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with, and this sounds like, I don't want to, this isn't like a pot shot. I don't think we can win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. I don't think we can win a Super Bowl with Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith.
Right.
I think he's great. But this was the moment.
Yeah.
How do you compete with these guys?
Yeah. The era of Joe Flacco having a run, Blake Bortles making it to the championship game.
Oh, yeah, that's over.
Maybe Nick Foles, if it all aligns together. We ain't seen that since, guys. We really haven't seen that since. Because for as many people that would say Brock Purdy, well, what about Brock Purdy?
Did you see the all-star team this dude was playing with?
Fair.
All-star squad.
And he didn't win it.
And he didn't win it, but to get there, right. And so, to be fair to Kirk Cousins, I mean, they only had to pass the ball 7 times. That's why that other guy got to the Super Bowl.
D-Mac makes a good point. Nick Foles is like the aberration to all this. And Nick Foles went on a heater. That was
that's what I'm saying. If everything aligns, but that happening has actually happened less, i.e. hasn't happened since.
Right. So here's the thing about 13 seconds.
Get an alien. This is what Nate does.
Yeah. Get an alien.
Go draft an alien.
That really is it. It's like, guys, we have to get an alien. That's all we can do. It is the thing about 13 seconds is it was legacy changing. Even in the moment, everyone knew it, not just for Mahomes, but for Travis Kelce. He had reached this apex of being talked about as one of the greatest to ever do it. But the fact that they were willing to talk about after the game, that they were like, hey, they're leaving the middle of the field open. If they do that again, I'm just going to run straight. And seriously, how many times have you gone back and watch the replay of do it, Kels, do it. And he goes, all right. What a cool thing. That never happens in pro sports.
Correct. That was them converting back to being in the backyard, which is why it'll have its own sort of, lore, because that doesn't involve coaches. Hell, it doesn't even involve most of your teammates. It's just, a backyard play to outwit the other team, who, by the way, have really good coaches and good players. And oh my God, you know what we should do next? If we get in the red zone, just give me one-on-one with him. Just get me one-on-one with Matt Milano.
Oh, I knew
Just
poor
get
Matt
me
Milano.
one-on-one with Matt Milano
knew-
and see what happens.
I knew that Matt Milano was not going to escape today unscathed.
Of course he wasn't. Are you out of your mind? Hey, hey, Matt Milano. They changed the rules and he still hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl. Hey, Matt Milano. They actually had, even though they changed the rules, they actually gave Josh Allen the ball with minutes left and like timeouts and like, what do they need? All they needed was a field goal.
They just needed a field goal. And
hey, Matt.
Down on downs.
Talk to your boy, Matt. Matt.
I have kind of started taking to telling Bills
Matt Milano and his family.
Yeah. I've started taking to telling Bills fans, like, because, Bills fans didn't handle that loss particularly well.
Would you?
This last AFC. No, I wouldn't. And like the ref stuff and all that. And someone's like, oh, they lost because the refs are in the back pocket. And I got to use the, I don't remember what the show was called, but the teach your man how to squabble gif is one of my very favorite gifs. And I got to say, man, teach your quarterback how to dial up protections against a blitz, baby. Because I don't know. Allen, hey, he escaped, but you know what else he did? He let an unblocked guy come screaming at his face. And you know who doesn't ever let that happen? Like, who didn't let that happen? Oh, I don't know, in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl the previous year? Patrick Mahomes II, because he was like, oh, they're blitzing. Oh, hey, Jarek, I'm just going to have you fake block and you just run right out there. I'm just going to go boop, and then we're going to gain 10 yards. And no one's ever going to be like, wow, it's incredible he had to escape because he won with his brain. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, 13 seconds. It changed so many things because Mahomes, the Super Bowl the previous year had been kind of a sea change point where they'd kind of realized, okay, he does need some help. You can't have guys not blocking and guys not catching. Like, right. Okay, that doesn't work.
It is a team sport. I do remember that, yes.
Apparently, they've relearned that now after what just happened. But be that as it may, it was 13 seconds was such a cool moment that really, like, it's one that they'll always talk about. It started to become shocking when the Chiefs would lose in big moments. It brought it from, hey, we know they're never out of it, to, oh, they're going to win, right? And the funny part is, and this is where we'll go to part two, is the very next week, the Mahomes era reached another turning point on the back of one of the most devastating losses in team history. And that loss is what propelled them into a dynasty. So I'm really excited to write part two.
I'm excited to read part two, and I'm guessing we'll talk about that a little bit on Tuesday. I will say Mahomes' 2025 mindset may be the new offseason lessons of this offseason, because we're now 2 shows through and looking at that going, that's a nice, we got a clip and everything. We're going to use that. Well, maybe next time. And if not next time, then maybe Thursday. And if not Thursday, we get to training camp, and then who knows what happens. But that'll do it for this edition of Only Weird Games. Seth Keysor's piece about the games that define the Patrick Mahomes era, part 1, is up in the Chief of the North newsletter right now, mnchiefsfan.substack.com. And coming up soon, Nate Taylor will be on ESPN.com.
I think that's no, you're reading it wrong. It's actually a word. It's Nate,
if you want, I can make you a bit.ly like I did for Seth, because the URL is kind of clunky, and I make sure that we get to Seth's stuff as easily as possible, like bit.ly/Seth really hates money. If you want, I can try to shorten ESPN.com. I don't know. I think that's pretty good branding. I don't know a whole lot about this mysterious company, but I think if the branding's any insight, I think they may just stick around. Really making some good hires.
One could say. Yeah, one could say. All right, guys. This was fun. I actually go to work tomorrow. As wild as that sounds, these hands, they're back, baby. And you know what they're doing to end the show?
Nate's got a tiny trophy. How did you get that out of the England club?
Holy cow, Chiefs training camp starts on July